Chapter 2. But it is morning which sets the seal upon what the night is made. Right or wrong is clear only by the sun. Madame Wu woke on this day after her 40th birthday. Age, sudden death-like fatigue. Then, as though it were a sort of death into which she had come, dreamlessly, she fell asleep.
Let's go back more.
Died. And only a few days ago she had seen news. He let her go, lulled by her promising, beautiful voice. She could always lull him. He never believed the fullness of all she meant. And when he had dropped into sleep...
even more.
Oh, I have my bed ready, she said, half playfully. Tomorrow we will meet. Nothing will be changed in the house. We will be friends, I promise you. Not separated by fears and shames. He let her go, lulled by her promising, beautiful voice. She could always lull him. He never believed the fullness of all she meant. And when he had dropped into sleep, she went away and walked softly and alone, through the courts to the court next old ladies. By her order it had been kept clean and ready through the years since old gentlemen had died, and only a few days ago she had seen to it that fresh bedding was laid ready upon the mattress of the bed. Into this new bedding she now crept. It felt chill and too new, and she trembled for a moment with the chill and with a strange, sudden death-like fatigue. Then, as though it were a sort of death into which...
She reached 40 in China in 1946, and she's going to get a concubine for her husband, and now she doesn't want to have any more children. That's her reason, but that's her secret reason, but she figures her... I won't give the book away. Pavilion of Women by Pearl S. Buck. Brilliant.
She had come. Dreamlessly. She fell asleep.
Sorry, I messed it up.
Chapter 2. But it is morning which sets the seal upon what the night is made. Right or wrong is clear only by the sun. Madame Wu woke on this day after her 40th birthday with a new feeling of lightness. Her eyes fell upon the known but unfamiliar room. This room was very different from the one in which she had slept for years. That one had been decorated for a young woman. A woman who was wed to a man and was expected to bear him children. The embroideries upon the curtains of that bed were of fruits and signs of fecundity. That room she had left last night was just as it had been when old lady had sent her into it as a bride for her only son. Old lady had bought such strong satins and such fast-colored silks for the embroidered canopy that there was still no excuse after 24 years to buy a new one. The only object which Madame Wu had added to the room was the picture of the human creature struggling up the mountain. She missed this picture now. Today she must have it brought here with her clothes and her toilet articles. Beyond that, her old room would be very suitable for a new, young concubine. Let the fruits and fecund sites be for that one. Madame Wu lay in her new bed, alone. It was an even vaster bed than the one she had left, and as she lay in it she delicately probed her heart. Did she suffer to think that another would lie?
Probe your heart. See, this book, it's brilliant in its structure and its story, but those probe your heart. Probe your heart. As a man think it's probe your heart. Probe your being.
The rose-red satin covers of her marriage bed. She did feel some sort of faint, distant pain, but it was neither close nor personal. It was a large pain. The pain which one must suffer when heaven in its...
She's having doubts about her decision to let her husband have a concubine. You feel it. To reckon with ourselves. Those. Later on, the books, this resolution, this comes, but it's there. To probe our heart. Now listen to this, the interior. Victor Hugo is brilliant at the interior of the soul, but, white European male, but this Asian lady, I found her work is sublime. It's even more brilliant, maybe because it's brilliant.
Impenetrable wisdom decrees against a single soul, and as she lay in it, she delicately probed her heart. Did she suffer to think that another would lie under the rose-red satin covers of her marriage bed? She did feel some sort of faint, distant pain, but it was neither close nor personal. It was a large pain, the pain which one must suffer when heaven, in its impenetrable wisdom, decrees against a single soul. Thus, she knew it would have been ineffably good and comforting to her had it been possible for Mr. Wu to have been ready to enter into the latter half of life with her. It would have been a miracle of content for her, if out of his own fulfillment, and without sacrifice, he could have reached the same point of life that she had at the same time that she did. She pondered for a long time. Why had...
She's a 40-year-old woman in China in 1940, and this part's... I think she's even better than Victor Hugo or James Jones in brilliance.
And not made women twice as long-lived as men, so that their beauty and fertility might last as long for Mr. Wu to have been ready to...
It's different cultures. In our culture, we think men reach their peak at 18 and women, but Asian, at least her, it's different, but she's struggling with these so-called universals at her time that she believed.
Enter into the latter half of life with her. It would have been a miracle of content for her, if out of his own fulfillment, and without sacrifice, he could have reached the same point of life that she had at the same time that she did. She pondered for a long time. Why had heaven not made women twice as long-lived as men, so that their beauty and fertility might last as long as man lived, and fade only with the generation? Why should a man's need to plant his seed continue too long for fulfillment in one woman? Women, she thought, must therefore be more lonely than men. Part of their life must be spent alone, and so heaven has prepared them. Her reason recalled her from such futile questioning. Could anyone change what heaven had decreed? Heaven, valuing only life, had given seed to man, and earth to woman.
Oh my God.
Of earth there was plenty, but of what use was earth without seed? The truth.
East and West, we have this thing where Alan Watts talks about, like, God is, the universe is ceramic, they made it, but others, it's like Tao, it's like we're co-creators with it. Like, even in the book, parts of the Bible, it's like we're part of God, evolving. God extended himself into this finite and perfect state to look even more.
Was that a man's need went on even after his bones were chalk and his blood water, and this was because heaven put the bearing of children above all else, lest mankind die. Therefore must the very last seed in a man's loin be planted, and that this last seed might bear strong fruit. As the man grew old, the seed must be planted in better and stronger soil. For any woman, therefore, to cling to a man beyond the time of her fertility was to defy heaven's...
See, that's not true. Women in their 40s, they have strong, lovely kids there.
decree. When she had thus reasoned, the distant large pain melted away in her, and she felt released and calm. She felt, indeed, restored to herself, and almost as she had been as a girl. How strange and how pleasant it would be to lie down at night and know that she could sleep until morning, or if she were wakeful, that she could be wakeful and not fear waking another. Her body was given back to her. She pushed up her sleeve from her arm and contemplated her flesh. It was as firm and as sound as ever. Nourished and cared for, and infused now with new freedom, she would live to be a very old woman. But that she might live happily, she must be careful in all her relationships, but most of all, with him. She must not allow herself to be cut off from him. Certainly this would not be easy when the tie between them would no longer urge. Pain melted away in her.
Pain melted away in her.
And she felt released and calm.
Her calm, to tease out some of the decisions she knew weren't going in line with her husband, and some of her beliefs are just off, but the release, which she over-analyzed it, it drowned out those doubts, which she should have wrestled with. When she was younger, she had pleased her parents, older, her husband and children. Now she is free. So the women in the second half of life are free. Outside of culture, that's what she was celebrating. But she really wasn't owning her own needs. I'm sure somebody else, a scholar in this book, would blow me away. But probe your heart. Listen to it. To really look at, don't let one star drown out another. Look at all of it, like the James Webb, or it's more detailed than the Hubble. Like, probe your heart with the James Webb. The advanced ways we could probe our souls now with insights. Okay, I'll stop there. If you listen this far,